Hey guys, Mike, New York Magnum here. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. Today, what I want to go over with you is one of my customizations for my Beretta, or upgrades, I should say. And it came in yesterday. I already installed it. I'm not doing it on film. The reason why is because excuse me, even though it has almost 1,000 rounds in it, it's still fairly a new gun, and the pins are a pain in the ass to get out, so I really do not want to do that on the camera. So the part that came in was a Wolf 18-pound hammer spring to lighten up the double action on my Beretta. Now I know I've stated in the past that I really don't like the idea of changing out factory specs, springs and triggers and stuff like that on your guns. My guess is because of paranoia, because I live in New York City. If I ever did use this gun for home defense, whatever the case is, I'm pretty sure prosecutors here would try to nail me to the wall. But another reason why I don't like the idea is mostly because of new shooters. Don't get me wrong, it's your gun, it's your property, you spend money for it. Do the hell you ever want with it. I am nobody to tell you what to do with your firearm. I'm not an operator or a well-known trainer. I'm just an everyday Joe Schmo. But the reason why I hate it is because a lot of new shooters will take their guns and do trigger jobs automatically to it, change springs and things of that nature, and they haven't spent any time with their weapon system. Okay, I always said that people should learn how to master their weapon system with factory spec stuff in it. Springs and triggers. All right. The reason why is because you never know. You might not have your gun with you that you rely on to defend yourself. Maybe you're picking up one of your friend's guns, or whatever the case is, or you find worst case scenario. It is shit hit the fan and stuff like that. You lost your gun, you're out of ammo, whatever the case is, and you have to pick up another gun from somebody else, and you don't know what work they did to it, if any. It could be stock. All right, if you're relying on lighter trigger pulls and springs and stuff like that to make you a better shooter, you need to rethink the definition of a shooter is. Okay, at least the mindset of one. Alright, so I feel everybody should take their weapon system and learn how to shoot a factory trigger and master it before lightening up any trigger pulls. That's just my preference, okay? Here's the spring. And this is the Beretta 20-pound spring. This is the factory spring. Those of you who want to turn your factory springs without actually buying the spring, just cut 2 coils off of the spring. Alright, it's £1 per coil, pretty much. So just cut 2 coils off and it'll turn it into an 18-pound spring. I'm not advising you to do it. I suggest just buying the spring, period, because it's not exact. But those of you who are bold enough, go for it. This gun has been checked. Alright. To change out the spring, just remove both grip panels, and there's going to be a pin right here holding in this lanyard cap. This cap is under a lot of pressure, so I suggest is when you're knocking out the pin and then ready to take out the punch, you have this pointed somewhere other than directly towards you. Okay, just in case you forget to put your finger there when you're taking out the pin and the punch, if this thing shoots out and it hits you, it's going to hurt. Okay, I've seen it happen before. Alright, and the other thing is you don't want, remember to put your hand here because you don't want to start crawling on the floor looking for a factory spring and a lanyard cap. Alright. So, alright. So let me put a snap cap in here, and I use brass that has been once fired. I pick up the brass at the range because when I plan to reload to, what better than actual brass to, have a snap cap. Alright. I suggest 10 to 15 dry fires with once fire brass, and just throw it into your reloading bin and pull out a fresh one, because the primers will start denting in like this. Alright, and that's when it's time for you to change, but I don't have one with me right now, and I'm not going to stop the video. Alright. Now the double action on a Beretta with the factory 20-pound spring is probably still one of the best. I won't say the best, because the best is going to be subjected to everybody. It's one of the better double action pulls on the market for a semi-auto pistol that has a double action, single action mode to it. Alright. Now me personally, I prefer double to single action pistols. I like hammer fire weapon systems. Double or single. It's just my preference. I'm not going to go into that. Alright. So yeah, it's the factory double action on it. It's very smooth. It's actually quite an impressive double action on it. The problem is something that I stated in the last video. You know, after firing about 200 rounds and you're going into the 250 mark and 350 mark, you know, if you're firing long strings like that, which I have, not with this weapon, but in the past with my brother's Beretta and other people's Berettas and shit like that, your trigger finger will get tired, you know. And I've seen it happen to other people before. You know, that's why if you're going to use double action, single action guns, revolvers, things of that nature, hand strength, finger strength, you know, work those fingers out. You know, like I was saying, what I'll see happen pretty much is with the factory 20-pounder, after a while, excuse me, let me try to get in a frame here, is that they're pulling for the double action and they hit a wall because their finger is tired, and then they start to shake a little bit, which will affect your accuracy. Alright. The 18-pound spring is only 2 pounds, but it's night and day. It's such an easy pull that it's not even funny. The action is still smooth. The lighter spring does not change that. Like I said, the only thing that changes is the effort of the pull for the person. Okay? So now in single action, even with the 20-pound spring, there is take up before the break. It's just for some reason for me, I don't know the reason why I'm noticing it now. It's because I did change the spring and I'm being observant about it, but it feels like it has just a tiny bit more creep than the 20-pound spring. I don't know if I'm just being paranoid, but the single action also is lighter, obviously, and it is sweet. And that is the Wolf 18-pound spring. So those of you who have experience firing factory spec Berettas and want to change out your spring, I suggest the 18-pounder. I believe that's the Goldilocks zone for a Beretta. You could switch it as light as, if I remember correctly, seeing was a 16-pound hammer spring, which I believe is just way too light. Alright. If you want to buy a Wolf spring, they make springs for other handgun manufacturers and for different things. They just don't make hammer springs, they make recoil springs, so on and so forth. Any spring you could think of, they probably make it, or make some of it. So if you want to give them a try, go to gunsprings.com and I'll bring you to the Wolf website. They're quality springs, a lot of people like to use them. Like I said, thank you for tuning in, guys. Remember to preach and practice safe firearm handling wherever you go. And remember, it's our job to educate the uneducated. Have a good one, guys. Hope to post again soon.